Thank you, Amy. Um, People are still kind of floating in. We'll wait just a couple minutes. Okay, I think we can get started. Thank you all for attending this virtual general membership meeting on behalf of our executive committee, who consists of our past president, Karen Miller, our vice president, Caitlin Dembski, treasurer, Joy Jang, at-large members, Molly McGuire, Sarah Newton, Kathy Battles, Lori Ostergaard, Helen Levinson, and Bernadette Donahue, our contract officer, Francine Geis, grievance officer, Jen Thor, and assistant grievance officer, Chaturi Idrisina. At this point, I would like to have a report by the nominations committee, and we have Karen Miller with us, and take it away, Karen.
Hi. Yes, we have a vacancy on the executive committee, and so we need to have an election to fill that slot. We have fortunately received great interest in this, and so we have the following candidates: Austin Murphy, who is from the School of Business; Jacob Becker, who is from the College of Arts and Sciences; Eileen Johnson, who is from the School of Education, Human Services; Katie Meissen, who is from the School of Nursing; Dan Delvescovo, who is from the School of Engineering; and Tony Glover, who is from the School of Nursing. And we have brief bios from all of those folks. They are accessible through the ballot once that gets sent out. But also, if those candidates would like to say anything at this time, that would be wonderful. Tony?
Hi, all. So I've been at OU for 5 years. I don't know all the processes yet, but I have felt tremendous support at times from Amy and Karen and the union in general, and would like to learn more about the processes and pay it forward and be engaged. So I know we have Sarah, who's been at the School of Nursing for a long time, but I think it would be good for the School of Nursing to have a couple representatives on the AAUP Advisory Council. So thank you.
Okay. Anyone else want to say something? Oh, alrighty then. We also have the ability to take nominations from the floor. Before we can take those nominations officially, we do have to know that the person being nominated, in fact, agrees. And so there is a sort of process of making sure. But are there any nominations from the floor?
May I have a question?
Yes, you may.
If somebody is already on the ballot, you don't nominate them, right?
Nope. Nope.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No,
I just wanted to like confirm their nominate or like give them,
they're good. They're already on.
they're already set. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Just if anybody else going once, going twice, we just like to make sure we don't leave anybody off. So hearing no additional nominations, and since this is the second general membership meeting, we now have closed nominations, and the ballot will be prepared and sent to you quickly. And Amy will be sending that to you, or the link for that to you. So I believe my job is over as the
It
nominee.
is. Thank you, Karen.
Yes, thank you very much. I've hit the limit of my work capacity. Okay.
We know better.
Just a reminder for those of you maybe who are new, the ballot doesn't come from me. And it doesn't, Mike takes care of it, but it doesn't come from Mike's address either. So sometimes it goes to people's spam. Mike, what address does it come from?
It will come from a company called ballotsonline.com. If it will probably go out Monday, and Amy will typically send out an email saying that go look for your ballot. If you can't find it, send either me or Amy an email saying I can't find my ballot, and we will get you your ballot. I will send you a link directly to it. Okay. Next on the agenda is treasurer's report. I believe I saw Joy in the participants list.
Can I just share my screen?
Amy?
You should be able to, it shouldn't be limited.
Okay,
There you go.
it's okay, it's good to go? All right. Okay. Hi, everyone. So this year we actually, wait, how come I don't see my own screen? Give me a minute. That's weird. Okay. Hi. Okay, now I have it. So the information in this presentation mainly came from the financial reports that our current accountant finally, it's a good one. Last year, actually, we couldn't get our previous accountant to give us financial statements on time. So most of the information came from the reports from our accountant. And then it's information for the fiscal year that ended December 31st of 2022. Okay. So this is the revenue collected. I put 2021 number next 2022. As you can see, we do have $25,000 more in dues collected, and then we actually submitted less to the national chapter. So it's like $5,200 less. So we actually have $32,000 more in the net due collected. Investment income.
Joy, can you advance the slide to the slide you're at, please?
Yeah, I did. No, you can't see?
Nope, we just see the cover.
That's weird. But I'm moving forward.
We're seeing your PowerPoint page, so you need to click back to that page.
I'm gonna redo it.
Okay.
Is it moving? No?
Well, go to another slide and I'll tell you. Yes,
Yeah?
perfect.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's the slide I just talked about. It's basically we are seeing $15,000 more on paper. Keep in mind investment income also realized paper gain. Okay. So these are the expenses for 2022. Okay. Because for the tax filing purposes, accountant actually allocates some of these items into two categories. One is for program services, the other is called general and administration fees. But for our purposes, we only need to look at the last column, right? So accounting fees.
We
and then
cannot hear you. I think your voice is cutting off, and some other people have the same issue. So this.
I'm in my office. I don't know.
We can hear you, Joy, but you keep sort of moving back. So if you can stay towards your computer, it's just cutting in and out a little
Move
bit.
it up. Okay. All right. So these are the items that we end up paying out. So some of these items, as you can see, it's one category, advertising and marketing. So 80% will be allocated to one account and 20 to another. So that's for tax filing. So Amy's salary is divided into like $69,000 allocated program service, and then another 17,000-ish to general and administration. So at the end, we incur total $348,000 in cost. If you compare again, like the revenue minus expenses, 2021 we actually have a deficit, which is normal because that was a bargaining year. Our legal fee was like $168,000 for 2021, but 2022 we didn't incur that kind of a bargaining cost, so we actually had a surplus. If you see the difference in total expenses, it's pretty much the difference in the legal fees that we ended up paying. So 2021 we had 168,000, and 2022 it's like under 50,000 in legal fees. So we are doing okay 2022. Okay. So overall, I can confidently say that we're in good shape financially. We've been always been very careful with our money, so that leaves us in a pretty healthy situation. And then again, we know 2024 we will have to bargain again, so we definitely expect a lot more expenses in 2024. But we don't see any problem with like supporting bargaining activities next year. We still have one of the lowest dues kind of percentage, but it's efficient. It's sufficient to support whatever activities we currently have to carry out. So overall, we're in good shape. Any questions?
Is there any way we can get a copy of this, your report, like in the in-person meeting used to be print out before, I remember, but since we are online, is it possible to get by email?
Amy?
I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, you have a copy, you email it to the member, I think. Yeah.
I can send it to you, Sumi.
Yeah, thank you. I think other people might want to look at it too, so it's not only me.
Yeah, I think anyone who would like to have a copy of the presentation can just shoot an email to Amy, right?
Okay, do we have any other questions for Joy for the treasurer's report? Okay, thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Couple of issues that I'd like to just address briefly. First of all, we have we were able to get some grant money from AAUP National for communication updates. And we're going to use these for two very specific things. First of all, we are overhauling the website. We have some drafts that we've been able to look at, and that work is proceeding. We hope to have the new site up and functional with the winter semester. We are also putting together a bargaining communications team to support the bargaining team for next summer's negotiations. And we will be looking for someone to lead this effort. And you're going to get an email on Friday, I believe, with the requirements of this position. It is a position that comes with a stipend. It's going to be probably a fair amount of work. And once a person is chosen for that position, then that person will work with the executive committee to sort of fill out the rest of the communications team. The purpose of this and the reason to start it early is that we have a fairly good idea of what kinds of issues and what kinds of information we will be needing to send out during bargaining. Many of those things don't change from bargaining summer to bargaining summer. So there's a lot of things that we can plan for. We can collect information now. We can draft press releases and have them ready to go when we need them during the summer. Just to getting to the point where we need them and then having to scramble around gathering information and drafting things and generally working in panic mode during the summer. So we're going to try this differently this time. We have a bit of money from AAUP National, and we're going to try to do this in a much more organized fashion. So look for this this email from Amy probably Friday with the requirements for this position, and please consider that and to help out. Questions on that? Okay. A comment that I'd like to make. Many of you who are not involved in the executive committee or in the officer positions within the AAUP are probably not aware that we get dozens of calls and emails a month, bringing our attention to things that are going on all over campus where procedures, policies, things are perhaps not being followed. And when we receive these, we immediately snap into investigative mode and try to figure out what's going on. And there's been, in the last, I would say 6 months or so, there's been sort of a kind of a theme going on with a lot of these issues that we've been tracking down. And that theme is that we get these reports that that administrators, deans are making unilateral decisions, and they're doing things that faculty remember that they had input in and things. As we are tracking these down, this theme that has come up is that when we try to find the committees that are responsible for making these decisions and try to track down what's been going on, we're often finding out that the committees are not fully staffed with faculty. And digging into this a little bit, we find that the reason they're not fully staffed is that faculty are either not volunteering to serve on those committees, or they're not even volunteering to be elected to those committees. And as a result, we find ourselves in the position of having to defend and try to protect the shared governance we have, but there's not enough faculty that are participating in order to share that governance. it's actually kind of an awkward situation to be in. So and I'm not, of course, not pointing fingers or anything. I understand that we're all busy and we all, many of us are overloaded with committee work. But we do need to uphold our end of shared governance in order for this to work. And certainly for us to have to go to bat and try to defend that. So just be aware that, when these or when there's a slate of elections for things like executive committees, FRPC, things like that, that we need to have those slates full, we need to have those committees full so that our voice is in fact being heard.
And I just so everyone's clear, because there's a million committees on campus, right? But the ones in particular that we sort of have been dealing with are particularly the executive committees attached to the faculty assemblies in different units. So that, and I know in some units that's controlled by your constitutions, it's just the chairs are the executive committee, but in other units it's elected. So that has been one of the places that's been tricky for us to handle. So specifically thinking about those committees tied to the contract. So.
Why is that happening now?
I'm sorry, why is...
My question is, why do we think that that's happening at this point in time?
I don't know. It could be that people are just sort of, well, the single issue that brought this up was allocation of travel money. And contractually, allocation of travel money is done by the rules for that are set by the executive committee. So we had heard from a group of faculty that those policies, those procedures were not being updated. They were not being distributed. We checked into this and it turned out that those decisions were being made by administrators because there was not enough faculty that had volunteered for the executive committee to actually participate in this.
Right.
So there seems to be, talking to people across campus, that executive committees seem to be sort of just rubber stamps for the administration, for the dean to do, what sets, things get passed along. I would invite you to rethink that.
Mm-hmm.
Executive committees are arguably the most powerful committees on campus. In all instances across campus, the executive committees are the ones that set the agenda for the assemblies. Everything that flows out of the college and all of the schools to, for instance, the Senate and the Board of Trustees to get approved university-wide, all of those things flow through the assembly. It is the most really important part of shared governance, the schools and the college to the university itself. And even though a lot of the work that the executive committee seems to do is routine, that is a very important place to have faculty voices, especially if there are initiatives coming from the administration that you may disagree with.
So 2 quick thoughts. I mean, one is many of us that do service and are in committees know that we could perfectly well not be doing any of that work, working a lot less, and still meet our duties at the university and get promoted eventually. We do it because we like to do it and because we think it's important, right? But there's always been a need for service to be recognized in the proper way. And I come from a department where shamefully, and I said shamefully, there is a promotion for full professor based on service. And I didn't think that was right. I couldn't vote against it at that time, but I think that was wrong. However, I do think that there's a need to give credit where credit is due when service is being done, and to measure service in a way that is rational. I mean, right now, in most, at least in the units that I know, you can be putting 36 hours a week in service and have the same potential promotion that somebody that is putting 1 hour. So I think that's a big element there, right? It's not what triggered what you're describing, but that's always been there.
I would agree with you. And if there are disparities like that, then I would encourage you or anyone in that position or with those those convictions to work to rectify that through your workload policy. That's where that would be addressed in any unit.
Through our what, sorry, Michael?
Your workload statement.
Okay.
Your unit's workload statement. I do agree that service always seems to be a negative. It's counted against you if you don't do enough. It's counted against you if you do too much. And it very rarely is the balance actually hit. That's something that you get to decide individually with your workload statement in as a guideline.
The other point, and then I'm done talking. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk too
No,
much.
go ahead.
The other point that worries me more is that for me it's a symptom of low morale. I mean, you invest in an institution when morale is high, and you invest less when morale is low. That one worries me more because it's, you get what you sow, right? And if it becomes so endemic, we need to stop and think, because that's not good for any of us.
There are some of us who run counter to that. When morale is low, we seem to invest more, but I do understand your point.
And I would sort of add to that I know that some of the morale issues have to do with feeling like this has become a top-down institution and that the administration is making a lot of the decisions. So one of the ways to combat that is to make sure sort of we're fighting tooth and nail for our part in shared governance, which I understand is adding more work and might not be the solution that some faculty are willing to take on. But I do understand that is where some of the low morale comes from. And so that there are ways to push back against that.
I was thinking economic climate, but yeah, I mean, your point is well taken.
Okay, at this point, oh yes, Janelle.
Hi, thanks. I am sitting on campus here outside. Lovely day.
Good for you.
Well, I was walking in the building, so I thought rather than trying to talk inside, I will just say what I have, my thoughts here. I think we've seen a distinct cultural shift, and that's something that all of us can help work on. In that, when I first got here 18 years ago, there was it seemed like much more of a sense of community. I wouldn't say that we don't have that sense of community among faculty, but the distance between faculty and administration seems to be even greater than what it was back then. And as you said, this idea that it's very top down, and if people think their work is futile, they're not going to get rewarded for it. It's not going to make a difference anyway, then they're not going to get involved. And I think that that's sort of perpetuated over time. And I know what I've seen is that by having these sort of top-down approaches to things, people have become disengaged. And we probably have, a good 10, 12 years that I would say, at least in the SBA, that I've seen that there's been this decline in the culture of engagement, and people don't realize that they actually can make a difference and that these committees do have an important role. And so I, really trying to get younger faculty involved more and get them to our department, I can't say, we have so many folks on the executive committee, even of the AAUP here, that's just fantastic. So my department, we don't have that. I don't think that problem, but I think it's in a lot of departments there's an issue where people haven't had a culture of engagement. So I think it's our responsibility as people have been here for a long time, to help to engender a greater culture of involvement. So I think bringing up this point is really important, and maybe even reaching out like through department chairs of trying to engage younger faculty and early associates, and getting people involved in maybe in ways that they haven't been for maybe the last 10 years, and really getting that engagement back to where perhaps it should be or could be. So that's my thought. I mean, I think there's things that we can do structurally. Bringing it up and having the conversation, I think, is a great place to start.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, this part of the meeting is an opportunity for you guys to raise any sorts of issues that you want us to take to back to the executive committee, to other bodies within the AAUP, just issues if you would like to share them. Stefan?
Hello, I don't know, Amy, have you been able to work out the issue of paying twice for premiums for special lectures? We double pay January through April, and then it's not withheld in May through August?
Eric is working on it. He was gonna look into it and get back to me, and I will follow up with him. I'm gonna wait till after open enrollment is done, just because I know for the next, but until midnight tomorrow, he's really busy. But I'll follow up with him Monday, but he knows, he's aware, and so is Corey, and so is George.
Okay, the Blue Cross premium increase amounts for me to about $194 a month. And if we have to double pay it, then that's a $380 a month increase January through April. I spoke with the person you referred me to about maybe lowering my tax withholdings by that amount in January through April, and then raising them in May through August, and they're still looking into it. They haven't been able to get back to me yet. I imagine that the office is busy, but I'll let you know if I hear anything about that.
Okay, Stefan, I'll try from my end, you try from your end, but again, they're not gonna get back to you until after open enrollment's done.
Okay.
Sumi?
Yeah, Mike, I brought this up in the advisory committee meeting. Is there any way the item number 41, paragraph 41, item number 7, where it says the units for the bargaining, School of Health Sciences, like my department and other department in your school, what about going for big D status? Because we are growing and our focus of the research and criteria has been changed significantly. And I think we are growing in faculty numbers. So CAS is the only big D. And right now, according to the contract, so we like to be big D. And my understanding with the administration is the union has to bargain for it first, because it's a item in our contract. And I think you should discuss this in the EC and put this in this time bargaining item. And I know in your school, few chairs want that too. I don't know about education and business or nursing, but I know engineering is also growing. So
you want your departments in health sciences to be individual academic units? Is that what you want?
That's correct. Like in the school, individual academic units, so we can get more resources, plus we can work on our criteria for individual department.
Okay, what I don't understand work on your criteria.
Criteria means when it is big D, you have your tenure promotion criteria, right?
Yes.
So it's specific to the department, then it becomes, and you can put like the research, like some of our colleagues do community research, and they can get more like credit when they go. We do clinical, so.
Okay,
and
I don't
BD
see, right, okay, I would, absolutely, we will take this to the executive committee and you should bring this up when the bargaining team meets with your unit.
Yeah, but I have a
Okay,
issue with your
but-
bargaining team because last time we met twice, we gave them 10 or 15 items and that never bargained for those. I'm sorry to say that. We didn't even hear what was bargained. We gave 10 items. Our faculty met with the bargaining team and I was the one who arranged it. So if it is not being bargained, what is the point of even talking to the negotiation team? So that's why I think the executive committee should decide on this, and other people are probably will be talking about the benefits and pay. But this
Okay,
is
I just
an
I
comment-
will,
exchange.
Go
One
ahead.
thing I did look into after advisory forum, Sumi, was the piece about resources, because I was interested about that. And resources aren't allocated by big Ds and little Ds. So even in the College of Arts and Sciences, for example, modern, I'm going to get this wrong. No, modern languages and linguistics, they share resources because they're.
That's not right. The sciences, they have resources. I don't know modern language or things like that. I know the sciences, natural sciences have resources. So that's it goes by the indirect cost amount and all these things. So
I think what Amy is saying is that that there are big D departments that do not have that have to share resources, even though there are other big D departments that do not share those resources. We'll certainly take this to the executive committee. I also urge you to talk about it when you meet with the bargaining team, and also through the advisory forum. The advisory forum is the one that really comes up with the list of priorities for the bargaining team. And of course, you know, I could tell you by experience that what happens during bargaining can be planned for. However, it once you are at the table, things get fairly fluid. I can also tell you that I'm fairly certain that not every school that has little D departments would be on board with this idea.
well, that's up to them, right?
Yes,
I'm not
exactly.
forcing people to be little. I want big D. So
okay.
And then engineering also some chairs wants big D. I don't know about mechanical. You are in mechanical, so I don't know the new chair. But if the people wants it, and our administration, my dean probably would like it to be a dean of big D department. I don't see why they would say no from the administration standpoint. But nursing or business might not want to be. That's fine.
Okay.
Right. And also it will give us, somebody put it in the chat that FRPC representation, more seats. That's true.
Okay. Thank you. Suha?
Yeah, thank you. It's my understanding that it's important that when faculty have complaints to reach out to HR, in addition to reaching out to the union. However, I'm noticing that frequently faculty do not report their complaints to HR due to their concerns related to lack of confidentiality. So the HR doesn't get to hear about a lot of things that are complaints that are need to be heard. So I was wondering how we can handle that or what should be done about that. Thank you.
You know, at last Senate, were you at the last Senate meeting, Suha?
Yes, I was.
George Sanders, is they're working on revising or making suggestions for revising policy 714, which is the bullying and harassment policy. And one of the sentence they want added specifically talks about human resources. I can't remember how it was worded, but it was something to the effect. It included this sort of make every effort to ensure the privacy of the person who's lodged the complaint. So that's one way I know that at least that conversation is happening at the Senate level.
Thank you.
Tony?
Yeah, along with my colleague Suha, I would like to bring up an issue that relates to HR. And hopefully this is appropriate to share here. I'm chair of our faculty search committee. We are fortunate to have 11 open positions that we are recruiting for this year. And so we're doing processes just because of the volume in a little bit different way, which is all fine. But I've also been told in meetings from some folks at HR that faculty search is responsible for filling out this faculty assurances form, which is a new procedure to my understanding, and I'm still learning, so there are parts that I could still need to learn about this process. But I don't know if any of you are familiar with this faculty assurances form, but it includes like attestations for transcripts and things like that. And I am pretty clear that I'm not going to sign anything or ask anyone on a committee to sign anything related to receiving an unofficial transcript that we review. And I believe it should be someone in HR who was verifying transcripts and things like that. That's not the role of faculty search committee. Britt Riacelis was at our faculty assembly yesterday, so I did bring up this issue with her. You know, I just want people to be aware that, you know, as chair of faculty search, I'm being told that we need to fill out this faculty assurances form, and I don't think that's our responsibility. Thank you.
Okay, we will absolutely look into this. Thank you for that. It's called the faculty assurance form.
I'm
Okay.
curious if other people who've done searches in the last year or two have heard of this or been asked about this.
I can say that I actually have to do it just to hire part-time faculty in the dance department. I have to complete that faculty assurance form and get their transcripts as well. I usually ask the candidate to send them to me, and then I have to upload them onto the website. So it's always been a pain when I hire just new part-time people to do all that.
You know what, now that I started thinking about that, and I do remember that the last person that we hired in our department, then they started asking me about this assurance form later on. And I was I never did it, but I was just mystified by why I would be needing to do that. I'm still surprised that we have to do it for the part-time things too, since they asked for all that stuff in the first place. If they're demanding it, then I don't know why I'm supposed to do it too, but I guess that's a different point.
Okay, thank you. Terry?
Thank you. Terry from the Department of Political Science. I just wanted the union's insight on this email regarding the changes to TIAA-CREF on the single record keeper service provider. I think I read this email 3 times trying to figure out if this is just a software change. What kind of change is this? How is this going to impact us? I thought this email was a little vague, so I was hoping the union could provide a little insight on that for us.
The email was a little vague, yes. We've gotten some clarification about this, and I'm probably going to get some of this wrong, so Amy, please correct me when I do that. Currently, depending on what accounts you have, TIAA, CRAF, or Fidelity keeps track of your account. Okay, that's going to change. That just TIAA is going to track your account. And in the process of doing that, there's going to be, you will have 3 options that go along with this change. One is to have your funds automatically managed with money market accounts, or with accounts rather, that are sort of tied to your age, and that have levels of risk that people believe are appropriate to your age. Another one is to be able to pick from evidently a lot more investment vehicles than we have choices for now. Especially with Fidelity, we will still be able to pick Fidelity funds along with funds from other companies. And I can't remember what the third one was, but I'm told that after the first of the year, there will be several meetings, workshops, town halls, and things to explain in much more detail how these things will work, and for you to be given evidently ample opportunity to be able to have your money invested the way you want it to be invested before all of these changes are final.
So there's 2 town halls, one's November 8th and one's November 16th, and those ones will be virtual, and those are set. And then they're working on what they call a transition guide. And in forum, or not in forum, in the meeting with Eric Herpich, faculty tried to impress upon Eric Herpich, the sooner we get this transition guide, the better, because everyone wants more information. So, but this transition guide is not going to be available till after these town halls. It'll come out sometime in January, and then they will have additional meetings in January after folks have the transition guides. And then they will also have the ability to have one-on-one meetings with advisors. And then the change will be effective March 1st. So all the funds that you have, wherever you have them invested prior to March 1st, will stay where they are, unless you choose to move them at a later date. And all the funds that go in after March 1st will be in one of these 3 allocations with this TIAA record keeping platform. And so, yes, there's still a million questions. If you have questions, I should have looked it up before, but that email you got, that very vague, confusing email, Terry, it gives you the name of Kelly Snook. And Kelly Snook is the university's investment advisor, and he is available for questions. Now, I know Eddie and Debitash, I think, already talked to him. So feel free to reach out to him. His phone number and his email are on there. And I think I included him in the email I sent out the other day.
Got it. Thank you, guys.
But thanks for that, Terry. Stefan?
So I had one more issue kind of related to the healthcare. Those of us that want or need the Blue Cross PPO are confronted with the problem that few faculty take it, and with a declining risk pool, the rate goes up, and so fewer people enroll, and so the rate goes up, and it's kind of in a death spiral. It would be nice if we could increase the risk pool by having collaborative agreements with other institutions, like maybe Oakland Community College or something. But I think that there's a way of doing something more immediate. The medical school provides perhaps an option for us to expand the risk pool. Beaumont Royal Oak is now known as Corwell Beaumont University Hospital. And basically most of the medical staff there got their business cards stamped as I'm a professor of something. So I think we have an argument to be made that we should be able to expand our risk pool to include faculty of Beaumont Royal Oak, to maybe let them buy in and perhaps get more people. It should lower the cost of healthcare for everybody with a larger number of people buying into our plan. But I think we just need more people buying in. Some of us would prefer to keep the PPO as an option, and we're really concerned about losing it, and maybe trying to find more people is the best way to go about doing that.
Thank you. Anyone have just some like super positive, happy news to share? I took a chance. Well, I know we are all very busy, and we're coming up to 3 o'clock. I have a class in a half hour, and I know many of you do too. Annie.
Hi, yeah, I did want to mention that Susan McCarty in English has been chairing an ad hoc standing Senate, not standing Senate, an ad hoc Senate committee on mental health. And I wanted folks to know that if they have questions or concerns about mental health that they have seen, to reach out to her, or you can reach out to me too. I'm on the committee as well. But Susan has been doing amazing work for the past year, trying to connect between all the different silos that separate our various attempts to deal with the mental health crisis that our students are facing, and have especially been facing since the pandemic. And also the suicides on campus, which are not reported. We don't have actual accountings of how many students commit suicide. We know it only anecdotally if we happen to know someone who has, or we know students who report to us about this. So this is an ongoing issue that is now has been brought to the attention of the Senate. But I just want everyone to know that we are doing this work, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of communication across silos. So again, Gilson at Oakland, if anyone wants to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Could I just comment on that real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, just because I'm Todd Liebert from Department of Counseling. We've had a counseling center that's free to students in the local community for at least 20 years. I don't know why we can't seem to get that information out, that we've tried so hard to get it out there, but it still seems to be, sometimes people don't seem to know about it still. I have reached out to those people, that person that Annette just spoke of. But anyway, we have a counseling center. It's been there for years. It's in the SEHS school. So if you, I guess if there's any questions about help, please reach out to Department of Counseling. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Todd.
Sure.
Annie, who else did you say? Who did you say was? Because someone asked for email addresses. I put yours in there, but who was the other one? Can you put it in the chat?
I will do that right now.
Thank you, Annie.
Stefan?
I guess I'll just add that we have a group for patients and caregivers for people that take care of somebody with cancer, or if there's anybody on campus who has cancer. We meet once a month. We didn't meet this month, but we usually meet once a month. So if you'd like to know more or just show up, it's just a place to kind of share where's the good hospital, who's the good doctor, talk about experiences, maybe vent a little bit. But it was originally for caregivers. We've expanded to include patients as well now. So if you're interested, let me know, and I can give you the information about when and where we'll be meeting.
Thank you, Stefan.
And just the one event that we have coming up is next month on November 15th at 5 p.m. Liz Barkley from the School of Business is going to be doing a presentation, a workshop for Know Your Rights, particularly focused on shared governance. So hopefully some of the things we've been talking about, but maybe looking at it on a bigger scale. And so that will be on November 15th at 5 o'clock, and you'll all get invitations shortly. Gwendolyn, you know what would be a great idea? When we redo our website, we can make a space for that. So I will note that down.
Awesome,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon. An amazing rest of the semester. We'll look forward to the note from Amy about the communications team. The election for the executive committee position should be going out probably Monday. And also about that time, you'll receive a link to the bargaining survey from the advisory forum. And once again, and always, if anything comes up that we need to be aware of, please shoot me or Amy a note. And thank you all.
Thank